What if the path to success was already laid out for you, but you kept stepping over it every day? That's the brutal reality Jim Rohn spoke about with unwavering clarity. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 5 simple yet powerful rules for a successful life that most people overlook. These aren't trendy hacks or shortcuts. These are principles unshakable, time-tested truths that can radically shift your direction if you're willing to act on them. Success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who align their lives with the right philosophies. Let's get started. Jim Rohn's philosophy here hits hard. Most people complain about the obstacles in their lives, the economy, their job, their background, or the people around them. But success never bows to excuses. Instead, Rohn taught us to stop wishing for fewer problems and start developing stronger skills. When you grow as a person mentally, emotionally, and professionally, challenges start to shrink. Your value increases. Your opportunities multiply. This shift in mindset is where personal power truly begins. Growth is what turns frustration into motivation. One of the most profound truths Jim Rohn ever shared is that success isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming a better version of yourself. Too often, people pour all their time and energy into their job, hoping promotions or pay raises will lead to a better life. But Jim reminds us that the most valuable investment isn't in your job, it's in you. Your job may make you a living, but working on yourself, your character, mindset, discipline, and knowledge can make you a fortune. When you become more skilled, more aware, more resourceful, the world begins to respond. Read books, reflect, ask better questions, seek mentorship. Don't just show up at work, show up for your own growth. Because when you become more, you can give more, do more, and ultimately earn more. Responsibility is a word most people avoid, but it's the starting point of personal power. In a world where it's easy to blame the economy, our childhood, or bad luck, Jim Rohn stood out by saying something bold. You must take full responsibility for everything in your life. That means no more excuses, no more waiting for others to fix things. When you accept total ownership, your mindset changes. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop complaining and begin solving. Responsibility is the switch that turns on your internal engine. It's not about fault, it's about freedom. It means you have the power to change. It means that your future isn't held hostage by your past. It's in your hands, and that's the most empowering realization you'll ever have. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And the system that underlies all achievement is discipline. Jim Rohn said discipline is the key that unlocks the doors between dreams and reality. It's not just waking up early or sticking to a to-do list. It's a mindset. It's doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. It's resisting what's convenient in favor of what's necessary. Think about how many people dream big but never move. Their dreams stay trapped in notebooks and late-night thoughts because they lack the discipline to act. But when you develop self-discipline, you take control. You stop drifting and start building. You begin to trust yourself. And that trust becomes the foundation of all lasting success. Environment is invisible, but its influence is massive. Jim Rohn's legendary quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," isn't just motivational, it's mathematical. The beliefs, attitudes, habits, and conversations you're exposed to every day shape you, whether you realize it or not. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, small thinking, and people who settle, it becomes harder to rise above that energy. But when you're around driven, inspired, growth-minded individuals, your standards rise. Your belief in what's possible expands. You begin to challenge yourself more. That's why you must curate your circle. Seek mentors. Join communities that push you. Guard your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. If they feel good, they perform well. If they feel off, they shut down. But Jim Rohn teaches us that personal growth truly begins when you lead your emotions instead of letting them lead you. Mastery doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means acknowledging your emotions, but choosing your response. Life will throw curveballs. There will be stress, frustration, even fear. But you are not your feelings. You are the one who decides what those feelings will mean and what comes next. By building emotional resilience, you become grounded in storms, focused under pressure, and consistent when others fold. This is a major separator of successful individuals. They may feel fear, but they act with courage. They may feel doubt, but they choose faith. Emotional mastery is the foundation of self-leadership, and self-leadership is the foundation of lasting success. The world changes fast. Technologies shift, industries evolve, and opportunities come and go in the blink of an eye. What never changes, though, is the power of adaptability, and that comes from lifelong learning. Jim Rohn said, "Formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune." That fortune isn't always just money, it's freedom, clarity, and growth. Reinventing yourself means staying curious, always asking, what else can I learn? What skill can I improve? What perspective haven't I seen yet? Successful people aren't stuck in what used to work. They're constantly upgrading their mindset, their habits, and their knowledge base. And the best part? We live in a time when information is more accessible than ever. The people who win are the ones who treat learning not as a phase, but as a lifestyle. Discipline doesn't just show up in big moments. It starts in the small decisions, the ones no one sees. Getting out of bed when the alarm rings, choosing to read instead of scrolling, saying no when it's easier to say yes. Jim Rohn often said that success is hidden in your daily routine. It's not the single life-changing decision, it's the thousands of tiny ones. When you keep the small promises you make to yourself, you build integrity, you build self-respect. And that self-respect becomes the fuel to accomplish the big things. Think about it. If you can't control the small urges, how can you expect to handle the pressure of leadership or entrepreneurship? Start where you are. Create micro-disciplines. They compound. Over time, they become part of your identity. You stop having to force discipline and start living it. In the race for more money, many people forget the real source of wealth: value. Jim Rohn taught that income rarely exceeds the value you bring to the marketplace. That means if you want to earn more, the question isn't, how do I make more money? But how can I increase the value I deliver? Focus on solving bigger problems, serving more people, improving your skills so dramatically that others can't ignore your contribution. Income becomes a natural byproduct when your value increases. This applies whether you're an employee, an entrepreneur, or a student. When you develop a mindset of contribution instead of just consumption, you become indispensable. And when people need what you offer, success becomes inevitable. Never forget, your value is your greatest asset. And the best part? You control it. You can build it, grow it, and multiply it every single day. Success has a strange way of testing people. Some become arrogant, others become complacent. But Jim Rohn reminded us that real champions do two things. They stay humble when they win and hungry when they lose. Humility keeps you grounded. It reminds you that your success is never just about you. It's a product of preparation, timing, discipline, and often the support of others. On the other hand, Hunger is what keeps you growing. When you lose, it's easy to shrink back or blame something external. But if you're truly hungry, you don't let a setback define you. You learn, you adjust, and you move forward with even greater intensity. Life is cyclical. You'll win and you'll lose. The key is to respond to both with maturity, because the people who sustain success over a lifetime aren't just talented, they're anchored. Stay humble, stay hungry. That's the formula for greatness. In a world that never stops talking, never stops scrolling, and never stops demanding your attention, silence has become a lost art. But Jim Rohn understood the power of stillness. When you pause, you give yourself space to think, to gain clarity about where you're going and why. Reflection helps you reconnect with your values, your goals, and your purpose. Without it, life becomes reactive. You chase things that don't matter, solve problems that aren't yours, and confuse busyness with progress. Making time for silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Whether it's through journaling, meditation, long walks, or just sitting alone without your phone, that space is where real insight lives. It's where decisions become clear and direction is revealed. Every great leader, from ancient philosophers to modern CEOs, makes time for stillness. Because without reflection, you're just repeating. But with reflection, you're evolving.